Welcome back, students. Today I've got with me Dr. Komal Rai. Welcome for the interview, Dr. Komal. She has secured rank 25 in NEET SS 2023. Many congratulations for this wonderful rank, Dr. Komal. This interview is for you to discuss with us your strategy, where you come from, how did you decide to do NEET SS, and how you cracked it. So let's start with your introduction first. Where did you do your UG and PG from, Dr. Komal?
Yes, ma'am, I have done my UG from North Bengal Medical College, Darjeeling, and I done my post-graduation ma'am from GMC Nagpur, and I passed out in 2021. After that, ma'am, I did 1 year post-PG bond, and then I was doing job, ma'am, which I left 2 months before the exam.
Okay. So let's start with your PG times. How was the works? Was it hectic, and did you get time to read? If you got time to read, what all would you read in that time?
Ma'am, it was very hectic, ma'am. In first year, so we hardly used to get, I think, less than 20 hours to sleep in a week, ma'am.
Okay,
Matlab,
it was quite hectic.
matlab, it was quite hectic, ma'am. We used to have 2 days OPDs and 2 days 24 hours, and it was quite hectic, ma'am.
2 days emergencies. Yes, I've heard of these. There are many colleges in Maharashtra where there are 2 days emergencies, and we would be scared hearing 2 days emergencies. So you don't have much time. So did
So
you manage to read anything during your PG times?
ma'am, in first year, so ma'am, I couldn't read much, but from second year, I used to read every day, ma'am. Even if it is 1 hour and half an hour, I used to read it from second year, ma'am.
All right. So
And then I started making notes also, ma'am, from second year.
what were you reading in these times? Which books were you reading during your post-graduation?
Ma'am, I read Williams, ma'am. I've read Spiroff also, ma'am. Not completely Spiroff, but I've read most of the topics from that, ma'am.
Okay. So you are one of the
And
few
then, ma'am,
students who actually finished Spiroff.
yes,
Wonderful.
ma'am, matlab, not whole, but most of the topics, ma'am,
Still
like
during your
amenorrhea and
post-graduation.
PCOS.
Yes.
Yes,
So
ma'am,
that
that I read.
clarifies a lot of concepts. If you have read PCOS from Spiroff, that is half the job done in endocrinology. To understand
Yes,
PCOS, you
ma'am.
have to understand a lot of chapters from Spiroff. Only then you will be able to understand. So I think you had a very solid base during your post graduation. And this is also a suggestion to those who are doing PG and who are planning to do a super specialty. If you have time, this is the time to read every day. Read a standard book. Don't go after small books to just prepare for your exit exam. They don't give you knowledge, and they don't prepare you for any super specialty, or even to face the OPD. It'll be difficult if you follow those very small books for your exams. So from Dr. Komal, you have to learn this, that you have to start reading the big books. Wonderful. And then how was the exam? How did you prepare for exam? That is the issue that students have, that you cannot revise Williams or you cannot revise
Exam was, ma'am,
just
it was,
before the exam.
yes, ma'am, this year exam was, ma'am, standard, matlab, the questions were from
No,
directly
I'm
from
asking
guidelines.
about the university exam. The university exam.
Okay, ma'am. It was, ma'am, for me, theory was so quite easy, ma'am, because I have read only my notes, ma'am. Matlab, before
Okay.
the exam 1 month, ma'am, I have read only my notes. I made
So
notes of
you
all the.
prepared notes. You prepared notes
Yes,
from
ma'am.
the books, because
Yes,
revising book is difficult. So you need to give in a lot of effort. If you read from books and you prepare from the books, you have to read the books first, read it again, and then the third time. I think it takes 2 readings to prepare notes from a textbook.
yes, ma'am. And ma'am, because I'm a pen paper person, ma'am, if I'll not write whatever read, I cannot retain it, ma'am. I
Okay.
made notes.
So you would make notes. So this is the way
Yes.
postgraduates should read. Now after, so exam was easy because you had your notes ready. Now after your exit exam, when did you decide that you'll do a super specialty?
Ma'am, I had in my mind that I have to do, but I was not so determined. I was just giving the exam. And in my first attempt, I got a rank of above 450. In second attempt, I got a rank of 350. And then
Okay.
in FET, ma'am, I got 110 or something rank, ma'am. So, but in the my bond period, I didn't used to get time to read, ma'am, because it was in a district women hospital where I used to have to work daily. So I was not getting time to read, ma'am. So, but after this, my bond, I started reading sincerely, ma'am, again, and I joined Reproneet, ma'am, from February 2023, and I just followed it thoroughly, ma'am. Nothing else.
So 8-9 months of Reproneet Learning you did. So this
Yes,
is
ma'am.
also important that reading books helps a lot, but you have to some time before the exam you have to make it concise. You have to follow some guidance because reading all the books again for an MCQ based exam becomes difficult. You have to have a lot of your notes, and if you start reading all the books, it really takes a lot of time. So after PG, you have to stick to your notes or have to start reading from the class notes, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Till once you start preparing for a MCQ based exam, that is not the time to start reading books. So if students have completed PG and want to crack NEET SS or FET, just the class notes, the class material will be sufficient, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It
But
will be more than sufficient, ma'am.
yes, but for
It's
those
just
who
we
are
have to
doing
revise it.
PG, those who are doing PG, standard books is the way to go because there's still time.
Yes, ma'am. Even if
So
you
yes.
don't get time in first year, from second year, you every day you can get 1 to 2 hours
Yes,
to read, ma'am.
yes, this is an important advice for all the PG students. Now tell me from February, how was the reading? You had your notes and then you joined Reproneet Learning.
Ma'am, I first used to see your videos, all the topics I used to see the videos. And then, ma'am, if I have not, matlab, I could find that no, I don't know this thing, because many of the guidelines have changed after I've
Yes.
passed my exam. So I used to
Yes.
make notes of those, and then I used to give the test, ma'am. And from that, which questions I used to do wrong, I used to add them in my notes. So next time when I revise, it will be covered in that also, ma'am.
So Dr. Komal is a very diligent student. You read all the big books, you make notes out of them, go through the videos. This is the proper way of reading. You go through the videos and then the notes and then MCQs, and you write down those MCQs which you found difficult, which you could not answer in the first time. Wonderful. So what happens is before
Because
the
ma'am, I have
exam,
a
your preparation becomes easier. Just before the exam, you have everything ready and you can revise 7-8 times all of this.
yes, ma'am.
Isn't
Yes,
it?
ma'am.
Wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me more. From February, how much time would you give to studying with your work? You were working in a private
Ma'am,
hospital.
ma'am, I did job till July, ma'am. I
Oh,
used to on my duty days I used to get 6 hours. After on non-duty days, minimum I used to study for 6 to 8 hours, ma'am. And ma'am,
okay.
from July I left the job, and then ma'am, eating, sleeping, and studying. Nothing else, ma'am.
So
12 hours, 14 hours, whatever it is, I
okay.
just studied, ma'am.
So all the time you would just like we would. I remember doing the kind of studying before my PG exams. Like we get up in
Because
the
ma'am,
start reading.
for yes, ma'am, because for me it takes a bit more effort, ma'am, because I don't remember things at once. I have to
That's
revise
the
it many
same with
times, ma'am.
me. I never. It's very difficult. Even the classes, you would have come across me saying that I don't remember stuff. It takes a lot of revising for me to remember stuff. So most of us are like that. Most of need at least 5-6 revisions before we are ready for an MCQ exam. So this we have to understand. There are few students who will crack in one revision, but most of us will need a lot of revisions and a lot of diligence, just like you. Wonderful.
And
So
ma'am,
the
what I
last
uh,
2 months,
yes,
you just read.
yes,
Maybe
ma'am, I just
12
revised my
hours,
notes.
14 hours, or 16 hours, but you just read.
Uh, yes, ma'am,
Wonderful.
nothing else, ma'am, nothing else.
Wonderful. So I'm so proud of you that your hard work has paid off because the exam was such. The exam was a very good exam. The questions were difficult, but this is what I pray for, a difficult paper. Only then my students get good scores.
Because ma'am, last year when I got a rank of above 300, I never thought that I could be here and giving you this interview, ma'am. But I said, okay, let's give it the 100% and see what happens. I didn't thought anything. I just followed your notes, ma'am, your questions, everything, nothing else, ma'am. Not a single thing except your notes and videos, ma'am. Nothing. There is no need also, ma'am. It's
There's no
just
need
how
also.
much you revise.
Yes, if you finish all of that also, no, it's a big achievement. If you're finished and you're revising, it's very likely that you will get a good score. That is what I've come to know from all the toppers, that they finished all the videos, finished all the notes, MCQs, and then they revised. Once you've reached the revision stage, the subsequent revisions take lesser time, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And in the last, ma'am, what I did, ma'am, I made a small copy that in every topic there is something which I used to forget. Then I
Yes.
make a small copy of 100 pages
So
that,
this is
okay,
notes
before 1 week,
2.0.
yes, ma'am. Matlab, 1 week before the exam, I used to revise that copy daily, ma'am. Because that's the most volatile thing I wrote in that copy, ma'am.
Okay, whatever the most volatile things you wrote in another smaller
Yes,
copy.
ma'am.
So
Yes,
notes out of
ma'am.
notes. Wonderful. It is so nice to, it's, an experience to have these interviews and to know these techniques that your students have to prepare for this exam. Wonderful. I'm very, very proud of you, Dr. Komal.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Any advice that you would want to give to the students who are appearing for the next exam?
Ma'am, I just want to say that read notes and revise them thoroughly as much as you can. Don't go for all the, stick to one thing. If you are doing one thing, just stick to it. Do it completely, thoroughly, and revise it as much as you can. Because for me, ma'am, revision is the key to success. And don't see who, what else someone is doing or anyone is doing. Just back yourself up, and you will be there, ma'am. I just think this way because in February, I never thought, ma'am, that I will be here and giving this interview, ma'am.
I'm so proud
So
of you.
thank you so much, ma'am. Because, ma'am, I'm a bit a shy kind of person. I was not active in any discussion and everything. I just was reading. Okay, there was when your test and discussion was started. So
Yeah.
then that also I watched, ma'am. Matlab, I didn't miss a single mock test, not a single grand test. All the aims questions, everything I did. Even then, the options in which the options are there, ma'am. If there is, you can Google and find the answer. That will also help in the exam. Even the recalls questions which were there.
Yes, the recall question, every point is important. Even the option which is incorrect is also
Yes,
important.
ma'am.
You have to know
Yes,
everything.
ma'am.
The recalls are very important, and we have a lot of recalls. I think 10,
Yes,
15
ma'am.
marks
Yes,
of
ma'am.
recalls are there.
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
a treasure. You have to know all the questions. And a lot of repeat questions are there. At least if not direct repeats, they'll be on the same concept or on the same topic. So you need to know
Yes,
what is
ma'am.
important nowadays. Focused studying is important. Wonderful,
Yes,
Dr.
ma'am.
Komal. I'm so proud of you. It is so nice to have you over for the interview. Uh, we'll
Thank you
just
so
some
much,
network
ma'am.
issue.
Thank you so much.
Yes, welcome. No, it's all your effort. You're such an intelligent, such a diligent student. You read books and then you revised, you make your own notes. There's hardly anything to thank me here. Now tell me, how did you find the paper? How was the paper? Was it an easy paper or a very difficult paper this time?
Ma'am, it was a good paper, ma'am. Not easy, not tough. Who
It was,
has read it thoroughly, who has the concepts, it's okay for them.
it
But
was good for
it
them.
was very different from last year, ma'am. But it was a good paper.
It was a good paper.
It was a good paper.
Wonderful. So I think there was one question which I wanted to ask, which I'm currently forgetting. Do you remember anything that I usually ask? There was a question that I had to ask. Anyway, so you have told what the students have to do. They have to revise and revise.
Yes, ma'am. Because, ma'am, I'll tell you, ma'am, I did two questions which were very easy, ma'am, and I did them wrong, ma'am. And
Okay.
they were, I'll tell you that question, ma'am. I remember it. Blastosis fetalis, one question was there, and
Yes.
I marked the wrong answer, ma'am. And there was one more easy question of obs which I did wrong. And I couldn't believe after coming that I have done so
I
many tough
marked it
questions
wrong.
right and I have done this is wrong.
Yes, this
So
happens.
it's
A lot of students tell me with very good wrongs also that these two questions, silly mistakes happen. You cannot do anything. That much stress everyone has in the exam, and especially if you have given so much time to preparation, no, you make those silly mistakes. People who have not given
yes,
in, so
ma'am.
that this irony is there. If someone was not prepared well for the exam, will not make any silly mistakes. But someone who
Yes,
has
ma'am.
read for 14 hours is bound to make mistakes. I've seen this. So that's not your fault. You were under so much pressure that you had to make those mistakes. And I understand that you must be thinking that if I had those two correct, I would have got a much better rank. That's there, but a lot of students make those silly mistakes and you really can't do anything about it. Maybe you can calm yourself a little. That's a genetic characteristic, I believe, which I don't have. That in the exam you have to be
Yes,
very
ma'am.
composed and you have to mark all the answers
Yes,
correctly.
ma'am.
This is a quality that
Yes,
some
ma'am.
students will have, that
Yes,
they
ma'am.
will not take that pressure on their head. So it was so nice having you over, Dr. Komal. Yes, the question just struck my mind. How did you decide that you will do oncology?
Ma'am, when I was in second year, ma'am, and then there was a very ovarian cancer case was there, and one surgical oncosurgeon came to operate that patient, ma'am. And after the way he operated that patient, ma'am, it was just made me love that. No, this is something. No, matlab, it is something which is different, which is new, ma'am. From that day, I decided I will do. If I'm going to do something, then I'll do oncology. That day I decided
Wonderful.
in my
So
second
it
year.
was a long-standing dream in your head, and now you're going to you've achieved the dream. You're going to do oncology, super specialization in oncology. I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy for you, Dr. Komal. It was
Thank
so
you so much,
nice.
ma'am.
Yes, tell
And
me.
since second year, ma'am, you were there, ma'am. Matlab, the
Okay,
preparation, you were there since second year, ma'am. You were the part of my journey since then, ma'am.
it's so
I
nice.
have
It's a
only
privilege to
followed
be a
you,
part.
ma'am.
It's a privilege to be a part of such intelligent students' journey.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.